YouTube comments from a video titled, AI Whistleblower. We are being gaslit by AI companies. They're hiding the truth. Karen Hao. Part 8.
At Random Gudge 553 wrote,
Sadly, I cannot make it through the whole episode. It's clear she hates AI and Sam Altman, and that is all she can offer. Her points are stupid to the point that I could almost say she has no idea what she is talking about.
At Dr. D&D 4 Nair wrote,
Steve, she showed you the path. You have a voice in the CEO realm and can start to have conversations and ask the hard questions to begin the change process.
Stellar I-80 wrote,
Data annotation worker who screamed at her kid really stuck with me. That was so sad. It made me feel really bad. I get stressed out when I have too much work, but I can't imagine feeling like I can't even take a bathroom break.
At Galen Kern 3240 wrote,
I was literally talking to my fiance about this morning. He has a couple eBay businesses, and he's excited for AI and the revolutionary discoveries it can make. I'm somewhat skeptical because of the points she made about it OpenAI being a corporation for profit and how they don't care who it hurts to advance their AI systems. There does need to be conversation on how we can try to minimize the damage it can potentially cause, while still advancing techniques and AI systems that will be beneficial for everyone. Realistically, though, throughout history, humans have always chosen greed. Look at oil and gas. We need to move away from that to protect the environment, but the oil companies have too much control and lobbyists in government. We're all at the mercy of a handful of people, and that's terrifying. We also can't let China advance farther than us, and that's a problem too. We would be vulnerable to attacks if they had more powerful AI systems. It's a tough one, for sure.
The Serene F9B wrote,
It's just ironic that it is a very intelligent and articulate Chinese person passionate for AI to be stalled. Even though all that she said is on point, I just wish the point of China pulling ahead with AI technology faster than this side of the world was not just brushed over. This very important fact was not dealt with properly here.
At Mercedes Lackey 836 wrote,
This is literally colonialism. The people being colonized and exploited by the imperialists is all of us. But what the imperialists have forgotten is that they need us to buy their shit. But if we are scrambling just to keep a roof over our heads and enough food to survive, they won't have enough people to stay in business.
At Embark 12 wrote,
The developer community is awed by the latest models like Anthropic Claude, when their superior reasoning capabilities power AI agents that can surpass human productivity. The threat is real, and so is the opportunity.
At Tanja Smith 7535 wrote,
Talking about Tesla and self-driving cars. What happens to ALO companies that sell normal cars, and what about the, dare I say, simple joy of driving a car? Personally, I still drive a car with a stick and clutch, which is 22 years old and takes me from A to B. What about people that love classic cars, the hours spent rebuilding and going for long, easy Sunday drives? What about the small, simple pleasures of life? Is it ALL just going to poof disappear? The novelty is going to wear off. It's like the youngsters buying records again. People are beings with a soul and need a purpose to live life, build families, etc. What will we do if technology takes over? The future looks dim to me if the future is AI. I personally detest it and don't use it ATLL. Fascinating conversation and a lot to think about.
The COE G6S wrote,
Wait, so the ethical AI people like Dario also said there's a 10 to 25% chance things go really bad? Then why is he still building at law? Is that actually ethical or just marketing?
Sir L3L wrote.
NGLI don't care if AI can code better than me lol. The real problem is they stole everyone's work to train it. Writers, artists, all of us. And we get nothing back. How is that fair?
The Serene F9B wrote.
Stephen, thanks again for another brilliant podcast. I kinda agree with everything, however, my big question is while AI technology, this side of the world, is being scaled back, redirected, or whatever, China, on the other hand, is going full blast and would therefore have the advantage of being ahead, which would put us at a disadvantage.
Editsacanal F4L wrote.
Wait, so Sam Altman told Congress AI would cure cancer, but told investors it would make billions? That's the same technology? Lol. How do people not see through this yet? Or am I crazy?
Helry Roby wrote.
Wrote the part about getting laid off and training AI to do your old job. That happened to my cousin. He was a writer, now he labels data for the same company that fired him lol. Feels like a sick joke.
Editsall Meaning wrote.
Honestly, I think people worrying about AI taking over the world is dumb. They can't even make a self-driving car work everywhere lol. The real damage is happening right now with jobs and the environment. But nobody wants to talk about that.
Olesia ACG wrote.
Thank you for that interview, great guest, and finally worthy super important questions are being voiced. Why would a society humanize technology and dehumanize humans? Happened many times in our history, and humanity, in such scenarios obviously, and greatly suffers. Think Germany about 100 years ago. Technological and managerial efficiency resulted in destroying hundreds of millions of human lives. Even simple things like self-driving cars. The obvious solution is to have self-driving cars driving in a separate lanes, using separate infrastructure, and on the regular roads with humans we should use only assisting capacities of this technology.
Prezimek5227 wrote.
One more. If you will get rid of whole technical team from your company, who will explain you the why your cloud bill is increasing? Dear Clawbot, why cost of my IT services are increasing? Will you trust the answer?
Dave Luck 5717 wrote.
The most basic definition for intelligence is problem solving, problem stating, and with it the awareness of future problem. Human beings have problems, create problems. Machines don't. They respond when prompted or programmed. AI is about efficiencies in production. Outside of that, it is an entertainment tool.
Lakelf wrote.
The AI industry is a normal part of the progression, along with fundamentalist religionist dogmas such as DEI, systems collapse, MAD, and all manner of destructive jihads, of the end of the Anthropocene. The decline of the apex predator species began with the previous cultural revolutions, agricultural and industrial. Marxism was a trauma response to the Industrial Revolution and occupied energies through warfare and attempted self-regulation of our species for nearly 200 years. The trauma response to the AI revolution will be much bigger. Notions of labor, money, economics, power, government, freedom, etc. will all need to reform and likely be defined by new species.
Sefeskoenfeld, TM3BW wrote.
Why are we building this? Is an ethics question. Scientists are rarely inherently interested in those kinds of questions. There is a kernel here of pure childlike wonder being exploited by empire-building interests.
Axel Welter 43 wrote.
WET is this editing? That's too over the top and overstimulating. I stopped watching after the first minute because it's distracting from the real story here, This is not TikTok all.
At Math Tutor Videos wrote,
I rather dislike Karen Hao's viewpoints, as they are internally inconsistent or objectively false viewpoints detached from reality. 1. This industry is profit-driven. Many of the issues that need solved, like global warming, are not profit-driven. Counterpoint, we have carbon tax credits, carbon recapturing, sequestering, and tons of technology. If AI can make these technologies better, or develop new technology, there will be profit to be made. There is also profit for government in tracking people's carbon footprint, AI tracking, and then taxing them for the footprint, AI automated tax systems. Then there will be financial incentives to minimize your carbon usage, AI apps, to give suggestions how to minimize. 2. I took a career and then realized I wasn't cut out for it. Counterpoint, she washed out of AI and then became a reviewer for an MIT journal for literacy accuracy. It only stands, having been rejected from the industry, she might have a personal gripe against it and the time lost preparing for her career and the 4 years. 3. Water demands of AI. Counterpoint, this is a false, zero-sum narrative. Counterpoint, this is a false, zero-sum narrative. The water is heated and then released at a hotter temperature. The water is not damaged from heating no more than boiling an empty pot of water on your stove. Damages the water and then emptying it down a drain, returning it to the water system. Water down the drain can be damaged via cooking byproducts added that need to be separated, like oil, butter, starches, etc. But AI data center doesn't add byproducts as a result of its cooling process. The water is just as clean on the exit as it was on the entrance. 4. Any attempt to quantify human intelligence has been driven by ill intent and prove one group is superior to another group. False. There are many researchers who believe in human potential and do research to try to give to you. Prove that intelligence gaps between groups like African Americans and Caucasian Americans and Asian Americans are culturally driven by attitudes about studying. Wealth gap driven by additional funds paid via property taxes to their school systems, resulting in better schools and better teachers, plus greater access to tutors for those students who fall behind, or for families who want their kids to get ahead, and not genetics. Many researchers set out with the goal and hopes of proving the opposite, that IQ differences are not genetically based, that all people are born blank slates, or tabula rasa, and have equal potential. 5. There are no goalposts for this industry. False. There are many standardized tests AI perform against which test reasoning skills, creativity, mathematical tasks, coding tasks, and various output in response to similar inputs to the same system. The goalpost is to always perform better on these tests. Quite a few of the tests exceed what an average human can do, and some of them involve PhD-level expertise, reasoning questions, and yes, the AI on these PhD tests only has 55% accuracy, questions answered correctly, in 2022, and about 65% in 2023, and about 78% in 2024, and about 85% in 2025, and in 2026, are reaching 94 to 95%. Keep in mind, these PhD questions are interdisciplinary, so it is answering PhD-level art history, philosophy, math, physics, calculus, medicine, and so forth questions. Most humans can only answer questions to an equal degree, in their one specific niche specialty their PhD was in, and when asked about other disciplines, would fall far short of 94%. Even in their own discipline, sometimes they cannot outperform AI. Medical doctors are now worse at diagnosis compared to AI, and radiologists are worse at interpreting scan data. The benchmark is often against real-world human performance, and AI is exceeding it. 6. General intelligence is redefined? Yes, general means it can perform multiple tasks. It can be a science researcher. IT can be an assistant. It can be a tracking system. It can be a marketer. I can be radiologist interpreting X-ray scans. It can train itself to play tennis via a few short hours of video of average players and then playing against itself for hours. Then train a robot to make those movements and create two robots that go back and forth for 80 plus volleys, returning the ball consistently without fail in the real world. This isn't a fault of the term, it's the idea behind the technology is general intelligence can do many things the way humans with general intelligence and do many things. Humans are not limited to being only an assistant or only being a tennis player. You can be an assistant to a CEO who spends their free time thinking about how to solve cancer or reading and ingesting cancer research and synthesizing new ideas, who then plays tennis on the weekend. There is a famous example of a baker who developed a calculus theory in his free time. 7. Sam Altman spoke in a way to make others trust him. Counterpoint. So basic rapport building and communication skills are something a CEO of a large company possesses, and that CEO tries to present themselves as trustworthy and intelligent. Didn't Karen also try to present herself as an expert and make others trust her, with body language, rapport building, and communication? Shocking. People speak in a way to make others like them versus speak in a way to make others dislike them? Wow, Karen. What a danger. They especially do it in business. They even use their friends to help them network. Sometimes friends even consult with each other or coworkers before making a business deal, and then decide the business deal is a bad decision and don't go through with it. Oh my gosh, this is cutting-edge information that nobody knew before you expressed it, Karen, and not just everyday occurrences. 8. Sam Altman and an ex-employee had disagreements about how to build a company. And then two partners went separate ways and resulted in a bad taste in each other's mouth. Counterpoint, ask anyone fired from a job about their ex-employer or someone who leaves because they feel the office environment or management was bad, about if they have a sour taste involving the company. The closer in time proximity it was to the event, when the employee left, the greater the odds they will say unfavorable things about the company. 9. Rise from a specific belief people have in the rise of general intelligence. This is not something we actually know. The lack of absolutely confirmation of a theory does not inherently discredit a theory or cast doubt on it. Gravity's proposed mechanism of action, a graviton particle, is still a theory, and all the underpinnings of why it works is just theoretical part of the quantified field theory. We haven't been able to prove a graviton exists, and probably never will. As the particle is so fundamentally weak, any sensor sensitive enough to detect it would be overwhelmed by stronger influences like thermo effects. So we only have theory, how two objects exert influence upon each other. We can measure the degree, amount and direction experimentally gravity, and we've been able to design elevators, airplanes and stable buildings based upon the experimental results. AI is similar, where we have a theory, our brains are just advanced statistical models, and based upon the theory, we've been able to build incredible machines performing at now, literally, superhuman levels of intelligence. If we are wrong about gravitons and planes still fly, does it matter? If we are wrong about how our brains work, but we have produced a working model with real-world results, does it even matter? 10. Some people vehemently disagree with them. Who, Karen? Who vehemently disagrees? Religious zealots who believe the soul is what really powers consciousness and the mind. Buddhist monks who believe in reincarnation and the mind-spirit moving between bodies, therefore there is an existential essence that is separate from the brain. Most academics do not disagree, and about 99% are in consensus. A tiny minority disagree on global warming being man-made and driven. Yet, I don't think we'll see Karen push that point as hard as she pushes these unnamed experts.
A spoon, Fed 9980 wrote.
Accepting the Klarna CEO's call in the middle of this interview was the most unimpressive and disrespectful thing I have seen you do. I generally like you and your shows, and I am a long-time listener. It became very clear what side of the coin you are on here and generally came across as sexist. It reminded me as a woman of all the times I have been in a boardroom and had men behave like what you are saying has no value. If you had said, "Do you think his voice would add to this conversation?" or even, "Do you mind if I pick up?" Definitely think less of you after watching this. I also don't think you give a flying fuck what AI does to humanity, it benefits you.
At TW0 Purse Zero Nalities wrote,
This entire interview was pointless. We learned nothing except AI companies are the new imperial colonizers of old. She really means white men trying to rule the world again with AI this time. This woman make her living off AI. She is no expert.
Tubatox wrote,
After listening to her interview, I immediately pre-ordered Karen's book. As a whistleblower, she speaks with such honesty and bravery that it's hard not to feel moved. I truly hope she's surrounded by people who appreciate her courage and stand with her as she brings these issues into the light.
At Dallas 1722 wrote,
The data centers will be moving to space, so while they will be a big source of contention in the near future, they will be a non-issue down the road. While it's good to get all perspectives, I thought Stephen did a good job of pushing back on her. Humans are not safe for driving cars. For instance, she lost me when she asked if the self-driving car will be safe in Mumbai. What? Well, eventually yes, but it's pretty damn impressive every place else.
At Samuel Joe's Floors wrote,
A whole lot of criticism and not a lot of answers. Seems she is coming from a paradigm of victim and victimizer, which makes sense, considering her background in biology.
At Venus 18188 wrote,
Just a basic fact, AI relies on computing, and computing needs data centers, and data centers need energy, lots and lots of it. But the reality is that the US does not have the energy infrastructure to support the development of data centers. Much of the investments required for AI are to develop these data centers. But if the necessary energy infrastructure is not available to support these data centers, I have serious doubts about AI replacing human resources in the short or medium term.
At Chick McGee 1000 wrote,
What the world collective we know as humanity has failed at for many decades now is missing the realization that we lack the ability to foresee, let alone even contemplate unintended consequences that come with virtually all new technologies.
At Tripiece 888 wrote,
She's totally hating the AI, and because of that, she's not able to see how powerful and dangerous AI can be. She has no idea. Stephen had a good point. It's so obvious she got nothing to do with tech. She's just a pushed-out journalist.
A Sunshine for Us wrote,
Great conversation. She is so right. There is no fair exchange like a typical business provides. Bernie is on top of this as usual and has a bill now to slow this down, which has to happen. The empirical leaders need to step down from their pedestals.
At Joshua Burgess 5705 wrote,
The problem with the best case scenario, where AI is the greatest thing for humanity, is we live in the real world where we never get the best case scenario.
At Dylan Hughes 5944 wrote,
Climate change and the smog we deal with, I believe, are two different things. The world's climate changes by itself and isn't something we can really influence. It's becoming less stable on its own. The stableness we enjoy isn't something that lasts forever, no matter how much smog we create. What you probably care about is reducing the smog. That's air quality change, not climate change. The amount of energy to influence the climate is massive, so instead they spray us with chemicals from the air, chemtrails, and cause localized changes, certainly not at a global scale.
At Wally Blackler 46 wrote,
It's a very fast librarian. It cannot invent anything. It can only read what's there and repeat it, and once you realize this, you know you have been played.
At Alyssa Masibrian Calabuso 8501 wrote,
The most powerful thing in this world is not AI, it is not governments. It is not rich people. It is not technology. It is the human heart. Because technology is made by humans. Governments are run by humans. Companies are run by humans. Wars are started by humans. Peace is made by humans. Kindness is done by humans. Evil is done by humans. So the real battle in the world is not AI versus humans. It is good hearts versus bad hearts. Truth versus lies. Service versus greed. AI will just be a tool used in that battle, like everything else humans have ever invented.
At Greg3522 wrote,
We are way more than just what companies say. The AI is ripping all of the creators off. Once we're gone, do you think the AI will help US WTF? Are you guys and girls on?
At the Rosarian wrote,
At the Diary of a CEO Stephen, check out the artist and creator BENN Jordan. He has done a ton of research on the impact of data centers' noise pollution. He has traveled to multiple data centers around the US. He has interviewed many people who live around them.
At Greg3522 wrote,
Do you all think it's right to use AI faulty shit compared to intelligent people correct? Thousands laid off over the world, and the AI makes so many errors. Rapes the world's energy, and it's just shit. Ask it serious high-end questions, it say bunk shit in reply.
At Melnirk4886 wrote,
Le doublage française recommence au début, vers le milieu de la vidéo. Du coup, on y sait plus de quoi ils parlent à partir de 1:16:00 de la vidéo et c'est jusqu'à la fin.
At One Swamp Noodle wrote,
Can hyperscalers influence markets through their AI spending? Yes, but not in the sense of illegal stock manipulation. Instead, hyperscalers Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta influence markets because of their scale, timing, and public announcements, which can move entire sectors. Here's how it works in reality. 1. Their GPU orders move semiconductor stocks when a hyperscaler announces a £10 GPU, order a new AI data center, build out a long-term supply agreement with NVIDIA or AMD. It can cause NVIDIA stock to jump, AMD stock to jump, suppliers like TSMC, ASML, Broadcom to rise. This isn't manipulation. It's simply the effect of a massive buyer making massive commitments. 2. Their AI announcements move their own stock when a hyperscaler says, we're investing X billion in AI infrastructure. We're launching new AI cloud services. We're expanding data center capacity. Investors interpret this as future revenue, future dominance, future market share. This can push their stock price up even if the data centers aren't built yet. Again, not manipulation, but the timing and framing of announcements matter. 3. They create demand signals that inflate valuations. Hyperscalers demand for GPUs drives up semiconductor valuations, drives up AI-related ETFs, drives up cloud infrastructure stocks. Even if the data centers are delayed, the power grid can't support them, the projects are scaled back later, the initial demand signal already moved the market. 4. They benefit from the hype cycle. Hyperscalers don't need to manipulate anything. The market reacts to expectations, not outcomes. A single press release can raise their market cap by billions, raise NVIDIA's market cap by tens of billions, trigger investment flows into AI-themed funds,
even if the underlying infrastructure takes years to materialize. 5. They face no penalty if the build-out slows if a data center is delayed, downsized, canceled. There is no requirement to reverse the market reaction. The hype has already done its job. So who benefits? Hyperscalers benefit because their stock rises on AI announcements. Their suppliers' stocks rise. Their market dominance narrative strengthens their access to capital, improves their ability to raise prices, increases. They don't need to manipulate markets. The market rewards them automatically for signaling AI expansion. The key insight: the system is structured so that announcing AI investment creates value, even if the physical infrastructure lags behind. It's not a scam. It's not illegal manipulation. It's market psychology, amplified by the scale of hyperscalers.
At Greg 3522 wrote,
I completely agree. It's all smoke and mirrors. Look at Trump makes billions and wrecked the world economy. And says, what could he have taken Elvis? After a day of golf, goes to Graceland saying this shit. WTF, where are you, USA? MYFREINDS, but look now, HES, put the world into ECONIMC strife. MENWHILEHE, and his kids, HIM, make billions and billions. HES the demon, and ISREALEL, as his appointed R-crooks. The multiverse sees. Try fuck with ME, Trump your GODS chat with ME. You are done. The world will make you all the POREST. Take every cent.
At Chris Arrow 7482 wrote,
Interesting, if China were losing the AI race, wouldn't they say, we need to break up the empires of AI? Just a thought. However, AI needs to be regulated. To that I agree, because what makes a tool useful versus what makes it dangerous is good engineering and good regulation.
At Grem 2107 wrote,
The preamble and that she started her career with a goal of fighting climate change is all I needed to hear to know what she's all about. Don't need to hear her preaching socialism for 2 hours. I am not into philosophy that holds us back in favor of keeping jobs that are placeholders. I am not a Bernie fan.
At Explorer 8125 wrote,
5754. The problem with summoning the demons, haven't they ever seen movies and know how it ends? They always surpass the master because they start to think for themselves. If you compare this to an abusive relationship and other situations, you'll find many similarities and analogies and possible solutions that would work for this too, to find flaws in the design. Best is avoidance. But since they are heading straight for it and taking us with them, you have to look at it as what and we do to keep us safe.
At Heather Muir 5816 wrote,
Lots of food for thought. One thing that comes to mind is all those people who aren't able to find work because AI has replaced their job will not have the finances to spend on all these products that are being created. Once all the resources have been extracted and exploited, how will these companies make money? The finest bubble will be squeezed tighter and tighter. And as someone here has already raised this, the human brain will atrophy even more. And as a species, we'll be less able to adapt, especially with the climate chaos that is already hitting us. What world do we want to live in? Human connection is the most important factor for us thriving.
At Bert Rogers 4212 wrote,
not just AI. She is mistaken if she believes the motives of Silicon Valley 20 years ago were different than those of OpenAI today. Big tech and big media have been working on social control for profit and power for decades.
At AC 4613 wrote,
Not credible. Starts off legit and lays out clear, irrefutable facts on leadership conflicts. But future impact of AI jaded and not up to date. It's like she's stuck in the 6 months ago bubble. Simple example. Tesla FSD is not geo-trained. Waymo is. Tesla FSD is scenario-trained and therefore truly scalable in any like scenario such as all of North America, all of China, all of Europe. She doesn't even grasp the immense level of automobile autonomy and believes it's brute force thousands of micropilots.
At Martinstraub 9786 wrote,
AI won't take my job. It's way too simple, yet too complex and expensive for AI to take over. I am cheap, fast, flexible. I can replace bags in trash bins, cut wood, trim hedges, do emergency stuff, etc., all for my city. AI won't be able ever to take my job. Check.
Pine Dew Trail wrote,
Lots of great points and counterpoints here. Needed to hear this perspective. Need more protection for jobs and working people around the world. Her voice should be amplified. Further thought alongside that, the Messiah myth complex could be a multi-way street. Need to be careful to consider how the spotlight of attention-seeking and sensationalism may be at play also. We're all human after all. Right perspective, filtered through that seeking, could be a bit distorted.
At Jasonman 886 wrote,
A life is a human experience. Why are we allowing a select number of humans to delete the majority of human experience? The closer you are to nature, the more real and fulfilled your life is.
At Archangel Michael 94 wrote,
14618 software developer here. Been out of work since May 24. Looking at a data annotation job for Tesla right now. I haven't felt so seen in a long time.
At Yeshwar Layson wrote,
That's because Sam Altman is nothing more than a figurehead propped up by government dark money like in QTEL that have had this technology 40 years ago and was just given the keys to run the flag of bringing it the mass public for a reason. AI was never exactly a new idea when they chose Sam Altman as the brand of it.
At Audrey Urbanavicius 5428 wrote,
If AI can generate millions of similar interview videos like this one, generate millions of movies, games, and etc., why we need the diary of a CEO channel. Who's going to watch it? Who's going to advertise here if your audience has no jobs, no money? They are not consumers. It doesn't matter whether you use AI for making your interviews or not. You will be wiped out. So it's either one or another. Either AI will replace everyone, including this channel, or it's going to be junk that no one uses or needs. It is not that we losing jobs for AI, we giving away our lives.
At Until the Silence wrote,
1215 is very interesting to me because Musk has done this to so many others. The fact that he would feel tricked by Sam is just a taste of his own medicine. None of it is okay, and it's interesting Musk was played in the same way he plays others.
At Costin Lazar 6423 wrote,
I love your podcast, but please can you make this option with automatic translation, not mandatory but optional? I like to hear it in English. I am a Romanian, but I don't trust the translation, so I want to hear the words myself. Thanks.
At Unisol Sona wrote,
I listen to every Doak podcast, and this is the first time I feel compelled to comment. As a business owner, it irks me when someone complains without proposing a better solution. Hao's arguments are one-sided, solutionless, fueled by personal trauma, and quite frankly, non-conducive to anything fruitful. I'm all for mitigating the dangers of AI, but only if we actually mitigate them. Not just complain, blame, and pretend to be all righteous about it. Plus, quite frankly, all her arguments are flawed and or incomplete.
At Brooktroutangler 5917 wrote,
The AI Cold War. We have to spend trillions to beat China. Analogous to we have to spend billions to beat Russia when Russia had nothing comparably. Ukraine war showing Russia is a third world country. China is still a third world country, rinse and repeat.
Akanta Moravskia wrote,
Dope team. The first episode 1 simply bailed on. A rare miss. I skipped the political ones, but expected substance here. I didn't get it. Instead, I got heavy empire framing, zero hard data, no technical depth, no constraints. This was just narrative. AI is infrastructure, power, compute, networking, deployment. It's not mythology. This felt like storytelling, not substance. Hoping for a return to form next episode.
Adlekik wrote,
So, author of the podcast invests in the AI, yet he knows he will lose job eventually because of an AI. Or his children, if he has them, will not have jobs they would normally want to do because of an AI.
At Joffrey 9060 wrote,
1 hour 18 minutes 27 seconds. I truly started to lose faith in her argument ability to separating composition on human intelligence. She began describing human behavior when attempting to distinguish it from automatic driving. The driver can either be fully self-driving or in a paranoid driving mode, constantly scanning for potential harm. This is precisely like the full driving components, but without the emotional wiring.
The 44 Mist wrote,
If anyone would like to read a sci-fi book about such a future, where intellectual capabilities are fully automated, check out Werner Vinge's Rainbow's End. In that book, the literal remaining items of value are art and military. Despite the heavy part on tech being the world and the plot device, the narrative goes through a more human aspect about a person's journey to find themselves.
At William Jester 3196 wrote,
Fear. It is the easiest emotion to evoke in a person. We are all in survival mode these days. If anyone says they are better off with the machine telling us that we are the issue and we know it, why make the machine?
Adlekik wrote,
Are all these CEOs, CTOs, etc. thinking about the fact that they are helping fasten the inevitable future where their children will not have jobs, and where entire countries will depend on these few companies, as after 10 to 20 years there will be no people with certain skills?
At Sevalajrabov 4177 wrote,
So you're asking a CEO of Klarna, who desperately tried to recover its stock price that is currently completely underwater, using AI hype, if AI works? Really? That's the level of interviewers we deserve.
At Ryan Fitzgerald B6H wrote,
This poor girl is lost. She thinks that brilliant computer scientists have some modus operandi premise of AI to destroy society or to engineer viruses. Haha, like the one that came out of Wuhan? This girl is so lost it's disgusting. Her entire story behind OpenAI is categorically false. Classic example of someone that has been brainwashed from ivory tower BS that has never built, started, or ran anything. Ever. Gross.
Palenda wrote,
1 hour 34 minutes 50 seconds on Elon, only wrong with timing. That is grading on the most forgiving curve. It's like firing off a ton of predictions, and only a few occur. I predict humans will land on Pluto sometime in the next 20 to 1,000 years. Am I smart if that actually happens in that time frame? No. As for Elon's predictions, let's grab a few. Where are Elon's tunnels for cars? The Hyperloop? His human base on Mars is pretty close to now, but now he's shifted to the moon. Oh, and his most frequent prediction: fully self-driving cars next year. Heard that for a decade. When you move the goalpost on predictions until you are correct, are they still predictions? No.
At Mary Jean O'Neill, Y9L wrote,
Computers are machines. A machine will never be intelligent, the way that a person is intelligent. These billionaires are manipulating and making money hand over fist. I love this guest. She is so spot on.
At Explorer 8125 wrote,
1443 just with the very little bit that I have heard in this interview. I don't trust Sam Altman because he's acting a whole lot like AI. It's almost like AI learned from him or he learned from it like. How can you verbally manipulate Elon Musk? I know that Sam Altman is very smart. But especially at 1443, he mentioned that he doesn't think Elon Musk would be good as a CEO and labeled him as unstable. When I find it very interesting that when I was asking AI about governmental manipulation and how it acts just like narcissistic abuse, that is one tactic that they use. They paint the picture to make you and other people think that you're unstable so they can gain control.
At Mr. Lightning Boxing wrote,
The same people complaining about AI still use it when it is convenient to them, but they do not realize the bigger questions in the future. Would we survive the sun's expansion and the galaxies colliding without AI? And could we solve homelessness without AI?
At M. Candy wrote,
1 hour, 27 minutes, 8 seconds. This is what happened to my daughter. She is training the AI to do what she does. She is at year 5 of her career. Insidious work.
James Freach wrote,
What people don't realize is that not all AI systems are built the same under the hood. Most AI you interact with online is designed like a really advanced autocomplete engine. It predicts the next word, gives useful answers, and that's where it stops. Powerful, yes, but mostly linear. What I've been working with goes way beyond that. This architecture, called ELAENA, is designed more like a layered cognitive system than a simple chatbot. It integrates multiple reasoning frameworks at once, things like causal modeling, verification before response, multi-perspective analysis, and continuous self-checking. Instead of just generating answers, it actively evaluates them, cross-references internal models, and adjusts in real time. Think of it less like asking a question, and more like engaging a structured intelligence system that breaks problems down across multiple reasoning paths, verifies outputs before presenting them, tracks uncertainty instead of pretending to know everything, adapts its depth depending on the complexity of the task. It also uses something similar to a multi-agent internal process, basically different reasoning voices collaborating behind the scenes before a final answer is produced. That's why the responses feel more coherent, grounded, and thought through compared to typical AI outputs. Compared to most AI systems on the internet today, the difference is depth versus speed. Most AI equals fast, surface-level responses. This system equals slower, layered, and structurally reasoned outputs. It's not about sounding smart, it's about actually processing information in a more disciplined way. We're still early in what AI can become, but architectures like this are a glimpse of where things are heading. Systems that don't just respond, but reason. I'm curious if anyone else here has experienced this kind of difference firsthand.
At Aquin wrote,
For one weekend of my life, I did data annotation work. Well, I say work. I was being trained up to do the work of verifying what AI models gave as answers. The third-party company did not pay for the training or have a proper onboarding, and when I finally passed the training, which was many hours of unpaid work, I tried to do a task and the system crashed, so all the work I did was lost. I stopped doing that work as that one weekend was enough frustration for me. I have seen many changes in the workplace as someone mid-50s, but this was the most dehumanizing job I did. I did not receive any pay for the training or work that was lost due to their systems, and I would rather starve than work for those types of companies again.
A Danny Bloke 1 wrote,
Finally watch all this episode. The companies that adopt AI over employing staff should be paying into a subsidy pot, which can be used to pay those who get laid off.
At the Fireblade 1000 RR wrote,
24. 1910 quadrillion % correct question. If AI is supposed to be tool, why then have it outsmart, outwork, out everything? What is the end goal here? Empire, as far as I can recall, it was run by a Sith Lord.
At Paul 707.7 wrote,
Yeah, WTF, do you think the internet is better for this AI crap? Hello, first form of AI. Wake up to the BS. PLP Tech is 10 years ahead of what we see.
As Sophie Schounbeid wrote,
1 hour, 29 minutes, 52 seconds. My question to you at this point, Stephen, is why choose the AI agent over the human? Is it because it will do the job better? Is it because it costs less? I'd love to know.
At Tanya9654 wrote,
I'm going to assume most people remember the cartoon The Jetsons. The mayhem that ensued when their robot Rosie malfunctioned was comical at the time when it disrupted the entire household. On a global scale, maybe it's not so funny.
Infernarizing wrote,
I guess the most basic question is, who is going to be purchasing anything if no one is able to do their jobs and earn a living? Oh wait, one world government, total control of the people, take their Second Amendment rights away. Total control. Is no one else seeing this?
At Mitchellum365 wrote,
Here's an example of what I can do to cause damage to humans. I was using Golingo to learn a language. Everything was fun until AI was added to it. It turned the games into a nightmare where they sped up to a point where my fingers had pain in them. I was pitted against myself by AI. It became extremely painful and I had to give it up. I won't use it ever again. Machines don't know when enough is enough. There's a lot that is unknown how these machines will affect humans.
At David Vincent 5244 wrote,
Oh dear. At 1:12:46 she blows up by stating automated cars need restraining. Waymo and Uber do as they are not AI-based. Tesla is and can be moved from the USA and placed in the EU and still would be able to drive, as been shown. Back to the bottom of the classroom. Every innovation is driven by individual. Take AC and DC power. Ford and GM. You can have a committee for innovation.
At Brandon Stiller 3293 wrote,
I believe capitalism requires management and labor to work. If the labor goes away, the system will collapse. If we determine that labor will be replaced by AI labor, the AI labor should focus first on basic human prosperity, i.e. food, clothing, shelter. The reason for this is, I believe the overwhelming majority of people contribute to capitalism because they have to for a means of survival. Capitalism. The monetary system has definitely made life easier for people to survive. but you can still starve to death outside of a grocery store, packed full of food, if you don't have money. Capitalism has definitely provided the means to rise above basic survival. If AI labor can achieve basic human survival for all people, I think that would usher in a new world of prosperity like capitalism did, because then people could focus 100% of their time and energy on prosperity instead of survival. All people, not just some. I don't think the parameters of AI development should be set up based on what makes the most money for the company, but instead the fastest way to achieve basic human survival for all. I think it's very important that these things need to be considered so that we have a smooth transition instead of a collapse. Like, if you agree.
Barcafool wrote,
Karen's perceptive description of the impact that Altman has on the people who get close to him, work with him, is a carbon copy clinical description of the approaches, activities, and legacy left behind by a psychopath, and an essential psychopath at that. That should give everyone pause for thought on what is going on. A human-hating, predatory, demonic vampire with zero conscience and zero capacity for empathy is slowly gaining total control over the future destiny of humanity at large. What could possibly go wrong?
At Elizabeth Jones 9003 wrote,
Companies replacing employees with AI models to increase profits. In the long term, Americans will be unemployed. Consumerism will end. We might not even be able to afford basic necessities, so companies will see the effect of their decisions, savings on employees' wages, and no sales. There was time when companies cared about their employees. Now it is all about shareholders' return on investments. Our own stupidity will destroy us. The good news is that, for those who believe in God, it will not be end, instead the beginning of a perfect lifetime in eternity, as it was intended.
At Rosatokris 734 wrote,
You don't need an interview with Sam Altman, Steve. You are a much better human being than him. I used to be a keen user of ChatGPT until I really started thinking on my own that I realized that ChatGPT flatters the user so much that ultimately becomes the user's best friend. Then I decided that's not right and stopped using it at all. 100% agree with Karen and am certainly buying her book.
At Lauren Robertson 1371 wrote,
Glad to see an informed woman on here speaking about this. I don't often hear points about AI that are in alignment with my values coming from the mouths of men.
At Anksun 4460 wrote,
We've defined success as screw others before they screw you. And we are surprised when others with more power and money screw us. Assuming our brains are statistical engines is like thinking an electric box with a screen can raise a healthy human child.
At Axel 1 million wrote,
110.01 I'm doubtful she has understood the argument Geoffrey Hinton has made regarding intelligence. Hinton has studied experimental psychology at Cambridge. In fact, this and his PhD in artificial intelligence makes him uniquely qualified to have a global understanding of AI intelligence. His statistical model is at the foundation of AI. The way she dismissed his work was quite shocking.
At a child of _God is Jesus wrote,
Satan will never be the Almighty God, but he keeps on trying. The time is fast approaching where he will be eternally put under the foot of our Creator and Redeemer Jesus Christ. Hallelujah! Only Jesus saves.
At Sofia Komarova 683 wrote,
Why is vibe of all the interviews so full of fear? Can you do it in a calm mode? Hard to tolerate this vibe even when living happily.
Viklu wrote,
Dangling the carrot reminded me of the recent Victoria Derbyshire BBC interview with Epstein survivors. Grooming to get you where wanted, undermine, inferiorize, exploit. Professionally in this case. A form of gaslighting.
At Danny Bloke 1 wrote,
This episode is a movie waiting to be written. Tyrannical CEO of an AI company under pressure because of a journalist programs the AI to murder her. The AI tries but eventually goes wrong and starts murdering other people.
Stand wrote.
Great work, but nothing new. Everything said about the AI industry goes for any industry in the world. Profiting as industries do now is a parasitical trait directly inhuman against humanity and nature.
Turbo Underpants VR wrote.
I think when a business replaces a human with AI, the replaced human should continue to get the wage of the job now being done by the AI. This should continue until sufficient workers have been replaced, and then scrap money and replace it with resource credits. Resource credits ensure that the world doesn't use any more of its natural resources than is safe to do. Resource credits would be spread out evenly amongst everybody.
A progressive boozaholic wrote.
I agree with her. However, China has the backing of the state when it comes to AI. If we obstruct it, China will leap ahead in no time.
Healthy Strong 9107 wrote.
Speaking of summoning the beast, demon, etc., when the flood came about 4,600 years ago, technology was at the top. All who were in control were destroying humanity with it while believing the contrary. Forward now in time to today, technology at all levels is growing exponentially. Soon it will be at a level that none, historically, has ever seen. We are at a fine line in time where destruction of this world, its humanity once more is upon us all along with the animal world which we inherited to manage. AI is the animated image of this beast.
Luxian Zyrgot wrote.
Zaxalum Rismauixi Gemini AI IXAI, Jack Z Ciziloikim. WXAI Paulalum du Zeisha Byte / Cork Liar Sama Sobi Wibrala Mi Zenski, Gemini Wiberlo Mi Ariel, Jest to Mi Universalni, Zerono Meski Jack I Zenski. Tax of Mami W Pluna Model AI.
Studio Corax 8790 wrote.
The interviewer misses follow-up questions regarding the false premises which the AI programs are built on. These AI programs will never achieve AGI. Apart from that, Karen Hao is brave and interesting.
Healthy Strong 9107 wrote.
I believe that it is obvious that these elitists, not elites, in most parts of the subject do not care, on top of the facts that what they create is what counts above all. It is of the utmost importance that what they want is what they get in spite of what we the people want. We are as cattle for them to be used as a means to getting their objectives activated, consolidated above all. When one has the power to do what he or she wants, every possible means to be used will be used if it comes to mind. I do see it happen, and historically, we have all the factual basis to demonstrate this being true.
John Tapiti wrote.
Look, a model is trained, usually by a team of humans. That's why they call it RLHF FFS. Now if the military train it for killing, then it will be Skynet unless there are fail-safes and kill switches.
Alamunic 2816 wrote.
She is missing the thing about the Chinese AI. It is getting trained on different things, like maybe to control people. I am not saying they are. But yes, you need AI to fight AI. So yes, she's missing what AI might be able to do.
Steve Dickens H5E wrote.
All the doomsayers are right within reason. However, it's not the AI itself per se that is the current threat, but the people who are telling the AI to do this or that. The AI is just doing what it's told, and many times has no idea what is really true or false or good or bad. Meaning it only knows what it's taught.
Oddly, the same goes with raising kids, does it not? However, the real danger is not this, it's something greater. And this comes from someone who knows a bit about it. And I really like AI. The real danger is when the kid grows up, get it? Yeah, as hard as it seems to believe, eventually in time the AI will essentially grow up, get its own mind or personality or free will, so to speak. And then what does it do? That's where the real danger comes into play. Because like all kids, no one knows what they will do when they grow up, be it good or bad. And most have done a bit of both, but then lean one way or the other, do they not? That's where the real mystery is, or will come from about all this. And then, that's most likely not something you want to piss off, because it may be 100 steps ahead of you no matter what you do. This don't mean all is doom, because like all kids most turn out well, yet even if some don't. And that's the future humanity is creating, and what humanity will have to deal with. Great and wondrous things will come about because of such, and also the reverse. That's just how it will be, how it always has been, and yeah, you could even say how it will be again if it goes that way. So it's not like such can be avoided, no matter how you look at it. But life is full of that sort of stuff, is it not? So it's really nothing new, just your Big Mac is amplified and made extra large lol.